Dan, good morning. What is Israel trying to achieve then with this new kind of attack on Hezbollah?
Well, this would appear to be the latest in what is a rolling, intensifying Israeli campaign aimed at hitting Hezbollah hard, decapitating its leadership, degrading its military capabilities, ultimately bringing the group to back away from the Israeli border and allow Israel to return some 60,000 of its northern residents who had to flee under Hezbollah fire for the last year or so. Interestingly, over the weekend, the Israeli foreign minister used a biblical simile. He talked about this being something like the 10 plagues of Exodus, meaning hit your enemy hard until your enemy relents. And in this case, let my people go would actually be let my people go back to their homes in northern Israel. So I think Israelis will now, or the Israeli government and military will now be trying to judge the extent to which this is registered in Hezbollah's pockets, having already hit Hezbollah personnel, Hezbollah weaponry, in the hope that this might be what will finally bring the group to back down and back away.
OK, and this is in relation, of course, to the proxy of Iran, as many would view it, at least Hezbollah. So the attack there continues, as you say, now on the economic and financial infrastructure. Meanwhile, of course, the conversations, the debate, the discussion happening at pace, it seems, in Israel about attacking Iran directly. Do we know if a decision has been made, Dan?
We don't, and this is quite extraordinary. We've had 3 weeks of open telegraphing about what the Israelis call an imminent, significant, painful retaliation against Iran for its ballistic missile attack. And nothing's happened yet. A lot of talk. An Israeli security cabinet minister was on the radio this morning, just 4 hours after she emerged from that classified meeting. She didn't give many details. She did say some of the conversation focused on the long-stalled hostage talks. That's a reference to hostages held by Hamas in Gaza as part of its attack of October 7th last year that started this entire conflict. There is an outside chance that the Israelis might try to leverage the threat of attack on Iran to force Iran, to compel Iran, to persuade Iran to put pressure on Hamas to become more flexible on the hostage deal. However, formally, the Israelis are saying there will be some kind of retaliation. They're not saying how or when. Another clock that probably is on their minds is the U.S. electoral clock. I imagine this U.S. administration doesn't want that to happen before the election. It could upend the election and the prospects of Kamala Harris winning it. But again, that's not being said publicly by any serving official on either side.
And Dan, clearly the fighting continues in Gaza as well. We've seen some more casualty numbers coming out over the weekend. Talk to us about how the death then of Yahya Sinwar has changed the operations of Israel on the ground. How has it affected the war in Gaza?
This was a dramatic loss for Hamas. They've lost their overall leader and the leader of the group in Gaza and the man who apparently masterminded the Hamas attack that began this whole war. However, even though I think there's ample evidence that Hamas is on the ropes militarily in Gaza, given the significant dropping off of its attacks, including rocket attacks on Israel, there is at least one pocket of resistance in the north of the Gaza Strip in Jabalia, where the Israelis for 2 weeks now have been going in again for something like the third or fourth time on the ground to try to root out those Hamas members, new recruits, and so on. A large number of Palestinian casualties, many of them civilians, according to local authorities. So Israel says it's been targeting command centers. And over the weekend, Israel lost one of its highest-ranking officers of the war, a colonel leading an armored brigade in that battle. 2 of his soldiers were killed the day before. Yesterday, he was killed, apparently while dismounted. He and 7 other tank crew members were hit by an IED that had been planted by Hamas. So very stiff resistance in at least one part of the Gaza Strip. At least there, Hamas is showing that it's dogged, that it means to fight on. The overall picture, I think, is that Hamas has lost militarily. The question is if it has lost the support, the grassroots support of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and elsewhere.